Alright, so in the last video we created a Redux action to get the profile by handle from our back end. We got that, it's coming in through the state, and now we're just displaying our subcomponents for our profile, which are displaying nothing but an H1. Alright, so what we want to do is we want to display the profile header at the top, but before we do that we just need to do a couple checks. So in the render here, I'm going to use destructuring to take out the profile and also the loading from the profile state, which are in the props, because we use map state to props. So we'll say equals this dot props dot profile. So we want to get that. I'm also going to initialize a variable called profile content. All right, and then we're going to check to see if the profile is equal to null or it's loading. Alright, if it's doing either one of those things, then we want to set profile content equal to our spinner. Else, then let's say profile content equals, and in here we're going to start to create what our profile will look like. Now, even before we do any of these subcomponents, we're going to have like a back button, things like that. We also want to use a row. So let's put a div in here, and then I'm going to put another div with the class of row, and we want a call md6 class. And then in here is where I'm going to put a link to go back to the profiles page. So we're going to use link to /profiles, and class name is going to be btn light. We're going to do mb3 margin bottom and also float left. And in here we're just going to say back to profiles. Alright, and then underneath that we'll have another div with the class of call md6. If you wanted to put something in here you can, but I'm just going to leave it blank. Okay, and then underneath the row, which ends right here, is where we want our profile header and all that stuff. So I'm actually going to take this and I'm going to cut that out and put it up here like that. And then in this return, this is like the Chrome of the component. We're going to put a class name of profile, put our container, okay, just like we've done with every other component, put our row, and put our column md12, so it's a full column, and then we just want our profile content. Okay, so whatever that is, whether it's the spinner, if it's loading, or if it's the rest of this stuff. So let's save this and let's go back. Now when I reload, you'll see the spinner for a second because it's actually fetching the user profile. If I go back to profiles, it'll take us back to this page. So that's what we want. Good. Now for the profile header, let's start with that. That needs to take in the actual profile, okay, because it needs to display data from the profile. So what we can do is just add a property here and set it to profile. We don't have to use Redux to fetch the profile from within the header because it's just a subcomponent. We're passing it down from this component. All right, so let's save that. Let's go to our profile header. So in here, right above the return, let's use destructuring to take out that profile from the property that we just passed in. So this dot props, and then we can use that variable. All right, let's in the return, let's give this a class name of row. And we're going to have a 12 column div here. This is all basically from the Bootstrap theme. I'm just typing it out. All right, and actually, you know what? Let's copy it from the theme because this might take a little too long. So if we go to profile.html, I'll open it with Sublime and go down to, let's see, profile header. So this is the stuff that I was just going to type out, and we want, let's see, just got to make sure we get the right thing. So we want basically this whole row. So that row ends here. So I'm going to grab all of this. Okay, so I'm going to copy that. We'll probably go back to that in a little bit, but now I'll paste that in here. And we need to just basically replace stuff with dynamic content, okay, such as this avatar, this hard-coded source. Let's change that to profile.user.avatar. And of course we have to change these classes to class names, so let's Control D so we get all these classes. All right, so next we have the name. So this John Doe right here, let's replace that with profile.user.name. Okay, so now we have the status, this developer. I'm going to replace that with profile.status. And then we're going to do the same thing we did on the listing page where we check to see if the user has a company. So we want to say in here, we're going to bring in is empty. And we'll say if is empty profile.company, then null, else, then a span, which will have the profile company. Okay, actually we want to say at and then the profile company. So right here we'll say at space profile company. All right, now this is empty. We actually have to bring in if we want to use that. So up here we'll say import is empty from, and we want // validation / is empty. All right, so that takes care of that. Let's see. So next I want the location. So we're going to replace this hard-coded Seattle, Washington with profile location. Actually, since it's not required, I'm just going to copy this, paste that in, change this to location, just get rid of the at, like that. Actually, you know what we'll do is get rid of these paragraphs and just change this to a paragraph, like that. All right, so now what we want to do is move on to these icons here. Actually, if we save this and go back, all right, so there's our header. Links must not point to, never mind this if you're getting that. Actually, let's just go to our Redux. So it's displaying avatar name, it's displaying the status, which is this here, and the company, and the location. Now these are still just static, these links or these icons. So what we need to do is go back and we need to check to see if the user has a website or has a Twitter in their profile before we actually display this stuff. Okay, so we're going to use is empty to do that. What I'll do is just go right above this and we'll put in some curly braces. Let's say is empty profile dot website. If it is, then it's null. If not, then let's put in this, and we're going to change the href value to profile.website. href profile.website, and then let's also add a target of underscore blank, and then we'll get rid of this for this first one here. That will replace it. So let's see if that actually works, if the website one works. So I saved it, and let's click on the website, and there we go. So it opens in a new tab. Good. So for the next ones, it's going to be a little different. I'm just going to copy this and paste it in. So we're now checking for Twitter. So remember, Twitter is actually in the social object. So we want to say social.twitter. Okay, but we also want to check for the actual social object, because if there's nothing in it and we check for social.twitter, it's going to give us an error. So we want to do profile.social and profile.social.twitter, and then be sure for the href we want social.twitter. Okay, and we'll change the icon. All right, that should be FAB, and then we'll get rid of this Twitter, and let's save it and see if it works. Okay, so if I click on the Twitter, another page, and it goes to my Twitter. Good. So now we just have to do that for the rest. And I noticed that I forgot YouTube in here, so we'll add that as well. But let's just copy this, and then I'm going to get rid of all of these, and we'll just do one by one. So this will be Facebook. And LinkedIn. YouTube. Instagram. All right, let's save that. Let's check it out. Okay, so if I clicked on LinkedIn, it brings me to my LinkedIn, YouTube. Cool. So whatever's on the user's profile, that's what it'll show. Now let's go to John Doe. John Doe doesn't have all those. He only has a website and Twitter, and now that's all that's showing up. That's exactly what we want. Okay, good. So that's pretty much it for the header, guys. In the next video, we're going to move on, and we're going to just kind of build this from top to bottom. We're going to do the about, which will include like the skills and the bio, I believe. Then we'll move to the credentials and the GitHub and so on. All right, so that's it, guys. I will see you in the next video.